The Uprising is more than just the set name this week. Not only are we delayed to no fault of Legend Story Studios, it is, what do they call it? Supply chain issues. The Uprising in the judges at events. Oh, I can't wait to hear this and get into the juicy details this week on Outcast Haven Podcast.
Check us out on Podbean. What we're going to start doing is little snippets, like the hot points, the best part of the episode that we think that we want to share the most with people. That's going to go on the YouTube. And then we're going to go over to Podbean for the full episode on Fridays. So check us out there. That link for whatever your podcast service is will be in the description. That's where you're going to get the full episode the soonest. And then at some point we'll be releasing like the unedited full video podcast for the people that want to watch that. But based on our numbers, it's not very many, so it's not going to be our priority. We're going to try and get like that shareable 10-minute clip out there. So I want to be able
His name's Charlie. I remembered it.
Yes.
His name's Charlie.
Okay, perfect. Okay, Charlie Thatch. This was the highlight of my weekend just because of this guy's reaction. So he's playing Oldham. Robert has 20 cards in deck. There are 12 misses in that entire deck that are not non-attack actions, so that if he beast withins, that he'll miss out, right? 8 are in his discard. 1 is on the board. He has 3 in his deck. Okay? 20 card deck. We counted it afterwards. 20 card deck. He's going into Oldham. Oldham has 2 cards left in hand after the first attack, right? And Robert plays, or after the Intimidates, Robert plays and discards the Beast Within. 20 cards in deck. Robert's on 3 life. This Oldham's on 4 life. Top deck's the first one. Non-attack action.
Life.
Charlie, at this point, we find out afterwards, doesn't know what's happening. He didn't realize that Beast Within was discarded. So as Robert ticks his life down, Charlie kind of gives a little look. Robert goes to flip the next one. Now, 19 cards left in deck, 2 are misses. Non-attack action. Loses a life, goes down to 1 life. There are 18 cards in deck. There is 1 miss left in deck. Flips it. Non-attack action. Loses the game. My favorite part is Charlie, the super reserved, quiet dude, goes, I couldn't have blocked. He holds out his hand. He had, what was it? It was
Endless Winter
and Turn Timber. He couldn't have blocked the attack, and Robert would have won if any of those. So, like, Robert made the right play, right? Because there's no way that you know that.
So I'm messaging, okay, just for reference for everybody here. I'm messaging on my phone like crazy, like talking back and forth. A couple of guys. I talked to a guy at the event. If they want to, I'll mention it to them. Hey, we talked about it, but I didn't give your names. If they want to come into the comments and clarify who it is, that's fine. I'm not going to say names just because I don't want to put people out there that, don't want to be out there or don't want any issues, right? But so I'm messaging. I met one of the guys in Vegas, and he said, yeah, it was one of my friends or somebody I know who got disqualified. So I asked him to put me in contact with that person because I thought, I want to know what's going on. I don't just want to get on here and blast. So we want to be very clear. This is not us going, well, we heard about this thing that happened, and with no information, we are going to throw a fit. I actually told my wife, she goes, she's like, who are you messaging? Like, you're really going to town. And I was messaging back and forth with these guys, asking a lot of questions. And I said, listen, this is important. I am doing some Outcast Haven investigative journalism. This is important. It's going to go on the podcast this week. I want this to be some like Dateline kind of stuff. Okay. This is top-notch stuff.
Inspector hat with a pipe in the thumbnail.
That's what I was.
That makes them. You better have it on when I see it on Friday.
Great. Now I got a lot of work. I got a lot of Photoshop work to do now. All right. Well, make sure you message me so I don't forget that. So there were some things. I'm going to give you a few things, the overview of the things that I know of that were, I think, egregious. And then we can talk about what the one specific incident. I know of 2 specific incidents where people were disqualified for Eye of Ophidius that had a slight curve to them. One person who was disqualified for a Pulse of Candle hold that was slightly curved. And the most egregious of all, somebody got an IP2 for writing Dorinthia on their deck list instead of Dorinthia Iron Song.
It was on the deck list? Whoa. See, I was confused when you said that. I didn't know if it was some proxy. So somebody got an IP2 for that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Who? Okay, this is an honest to God question. If you wear a yellow shirt, you're probably not listening. So let's be honest. I've ripped on you guys for so long, and I can't see anybody like that listening. What are you thinking that you give somebody? What are they thinking?
That one absolutely mystifies me because I genuinely don't understand what logic there is to do specifically that. Like that one to me is there is discretion when it comes to judging.
No,
or
there's
doing
not.
anything.
There's not discretion
Not with these.
because
Not with yellow
because
shirts.
they said that we know you're not cheating, but
Right.
that's why I want to get into that.
But-
That's my gripe. Anyway.
Okay. Okay.
Plot twist.
So yep. So here's what we're going to talk about. So this is what specifically the incident that I talked to someone about. They were taken aside, and this situation specifically bothers me because it's a player playing Kano. I feel personally attacked by that. Not really, that's a joke. But this is a person who had a fully non-foil deck going into the event. And he said, hey, I would love to use an eye, but I don't have one. So they borrowed one specifically for the event. He put it in his deck. He sleeved it up. No problem. He played all basically throughout the day and had no issues. And then they said, hey, we need to do a deck check. And they grabbed the Kano player and they said, well, your eye has a bend to it. It's noticeably curved and we can see it from the top of the deck. Which to me, that's an issue in and of itself, because if you can see it from the top opening of the sleeve, but you can't see it from the side, how does that impact the player playing the deck's ability to target that card?
I'll even give him that. I'll even say, yeah, sure. If you can tell looking at any direction of it, because some people have their deck sideways, whatever, fine. I'll give that to you. But continue.
Yeah, but continue. So another one that stuck out to me was, to his point, isn't that every eye? Like every eye that exists basically in the game, all those rainbow foil fables have a little curve to them. There's nothing you can really do about it. And people know what marked cards are. The issue is if you lay a deck flat on the table and you can't noticeably pick out that card every single time flat, which they said you couldn't. If you laid it out with other cards, it wasn't noticeable that you could look at a run of 10 cards in a row and noticeably see the curl from above. That's an issue to me too, right? Then when they were in the back, so this was the one that stuck out to me, was that said you would basically have had to molest the deck for 20 seconds to find the general area. And even then you would miss it, just like the TO did. So he basically said, judge tried, but it took them multiple times. I think he referenced the fact that every time the judge attempted to find it, it took at least 3 attempts to find the fabled, the eye. Which again, he's like, well, I got within 5 cards every single time. Okay, it's a 40 card deck. Like 5 cards above and 5 cards below. So
you go standard middle, and you got a pretty good chance of hitting that.
Yeah,
right.
You're not far off.
You got like a
that to me, I didn't understand it. And then on top of that, I didn't understand why a full DQ. Why not a game loss and then give him specifically a game loss, or even the team a game loss for that round, and then replace it with a token at that point. But
yeah,
that's the issue, is when somebody hits within the general area but not the specific card.
So that's
a huge problem.
Can we get in? Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead, Jason. Yep.
I just, as a Kano player, there's other cards you'd rather know their location than the Eye of Ophidia. Like
that's okay. Ready? That's my point. So that's perfect. Thank you, because that segues right into my whole gripe. Is that he said, the judge, right? Or this is, I'm going off of what Blake messaged us. The judge said that I know you're not cheating. That's just that is just how the rules are laid out.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so the discretion thing is bullshit, right? You don't have discretion. Apparently you need to apply these rules. Fuck judges, get a little judge bot, and he'll just beep boop, yes, no. And then we're done. Okay. We don't even need people, because I'll tell you what, if you look at that deck and it is 50-50 foil, and some are yellows, a couple reds, some are blues, but like not even full series or all foil or anything like that. You look
Yeah.
at that, you're like, cool, these foils, this curl, these marked cards aren't helping you, right? Like you said, the Eye of Ophidia, not helping him. Like, okay, knowing where it's at,
Yeah.
great. You know what's on top. That's so helpful. You're going to win now. No, use discretion. If you look at that and you see that every foiled card is a blue, and if it's not a blue, it's not foiled, then I'd be like, okay, something a little iffy. Like, what the fuck you doing here? Like, you want to
Yeah.
know if the top of your deck is blue or not. And I could see that, right? Use discretion. Don't be a fucking
Yes.
jackass.